Hi everyone, this is the Aussie Expat, and this is the Aussie Expat Watch channel, and we are going to be featuring an FXD and me doing an oil change on a Toyota Sienna. Um, so a little bit of a weird one. It isn't so much about the Toyota Sienna and the Tudor FXD as it really is about why I'm not going to be wearing quartz and Casio watches anymore. So first up, just a quick shout out. We're going to put a link down below to my Discord. And the reason for that is that's just a great place to hang out and talk about watches. We have a lot of fun in there, new releases, memes, lots of fun chatter about, stuff that happens to us and so forth, and a little bit of finance chat too. So that's free, that's down there. I even allow for self promotion, so, get in there. So, a few months ago, earlier in the year, my friend had a heart attack. He survived. He's young. Hopefully, it doesn't mean anything long term for him. But yeah, sure enough, he had a heart attack. It was at the gym. And of course, we're watch guys. So I was asking what were you wearing at the time with the contemplation that maybe you were going to die with that on. And he was actually wearing a Tudor Black Bay Chrono, and that's the watch that he wears to the gym. Even at the time, I was thinking, oh, it would have been so much better if you really, life's too short. You really should have your Grail already, which is a Batgirl for him. And really, you should have had that. Like, as a wake up call. You get what you want, enjoy life while you've got it, And that made sense, except when I do any gym work or stuff around metal, like doing oil on the cars, I put on a Casio. And the reality is, for a very long time now, I've kind of felt that I'm a bit of a poser when I take off the luxury watch that I really want to wear, and then I put on, one of my Casios. I feel like I am not wearing that watch because I love the watch. I'm wearing it because I'm too scared of, putting wear on one of my luxury watches. And I've actually felt that for a very long time. It's kind of the reason I have the Casios is because I'm not, I don't want to wear my Grail watches while I'm doing things that are tough. But thankfully, my luxury watches are starting to get a little bit older, and quite frankly, I wear the Submariner Hulk a lot for all the things that are the hardest but most enjoyable things in my life. In particular, the hiking and camping. So all my hiking and camping these days, it's basically Hulk. There's been an occasion where I took out the FXD, but I'm certainly not doing it hiking, camping with my family with anything less than my favorite watch, basically. And I'm very comfortable with that. And if it gets worn because I'm doing the very best things in life, that really isn't an issue at all. And I'm absolutely not concerned about like actual function of the watch, as in I'm not at all concerned about a Rolex Submariner's ability to withstand basically sport. It literally was built for that. What it wasn't built for is it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing wearing a $33,000 watch. You know what I mean? You're really committing to it. You're never going to sell it, right? But more importantly, I don't think that my Casios, as much as I think many of them are really cool, and I have purchased another one, this year, and I got a 40th anniversary last year, they do hold a special place for me as, I guess, a little bit of a kid, because I grew up coveting and wanting G-Shocks, but as an adult, that isn't, it's not the same thing. Like, I genuinely love, say Rolexes, but for the Casios, it's a little bit more of a nostalgia thing, and that only goes so far. You know what I mean? You can get a lot of the value out of a nostalgia thing just by owning it and looking at it. And hey, if there's some sort of appropriate occasion where Casio would be the very best option. That's the way to go. But in most parts of my life, I'm actually starting to really dislike just how they look. Like I might be in different environments, stuff like that. And even the Anadigis, which I've actually always preferred. I've always preferred an analog display. So I've always had a quartz watch that was Anadigi, even G-Shocks typically. But they're just not as legible as the luxury Swiss watches. Like they may have indices, they may have hands, but they typically have contrasts that are actually quite poor. They tend not to have lume. And so while I would like it there to be a great, Anadigi option, I honestly don't have one despite having Casio's and the GA B100, which I think is a fantastic watch. I just don't think they're that great for everyday use. I actually much prefer the legibility of a Rolex or a Tudor. And so this is it. This is doing an oil change in my Tudor FXD. This is the kind of thing that I would wear like a beta. And in actual fact, I would typically wear an Invicta while doing this. I'm still curious about like how durable that Pro Diver is. Man, it is crazy durable. It's gone through the worst. And I've been trying to cause it to die basically by doing all the hardest things that I want it to. And quite frankly, none of the things that are hard, quote unquote, an oil change, hiking, camping, that sort of stuff, the Invicta is going to last forever, quite frankly. And I came to that realization that I was sort of doing this long test on it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually putting the watch through anything that would actually kill it. And so I've been, trying to use the Invicta Pro Diver. Clearly a Casio in the same position would be the same, but also clearly a Rolex or a Tudor would end up in the same position, that you'll never kill a Rolex or a Tudor doing an oil change. I'm not sure if it's on this part here or no, I'm tightening it up, but I end up racking my knuckles. There's some moments where, maybe I could have given the watch a knock, but a small knock is not going to kill a Rolex or a Tudor. So the reality is like, I'm not going to, severely damage the watch. I think, there's more chance of that happening hiking, because where I hike, there's usually lots of rocks and stuff like that. But you know what? I'd rather wear exactly what I want and not worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, this is life. Life's too short to make compromises everywhere. And these watches were literally built for it. So it's not like I'm using the wrong tool for the job. It's the right tool for the job. It's just expensive, And the reality is I've already paid the money for it. So what am I scared of? It's not going to break. If it does break, yeah, okay, there's servicing, but it's not going to be, permanently down. And the reality is nothing I do would actually break it anyway. So yeah, this is it. The FXD is the lowest I'll go. Yeah, okay, there'll be certain things that I'm not going to say. I'm not going to wear my Batgirl while changing the oil, but that's also not the appropriate watch for that. You know what I mean? It's not, am I going to, I've had a day date. Would I change the oil with a day date? No. And it's not just because, how would we say, it's just worth too much. It's that it's just not the kind of thing that you would do. It's like, I don't want to wear a G-Shock to a fancy dinner. I'm not going to wear the day date while changing the oil. But Tudor FXD, that's what it's there for, doing some hard stuff. And look, honestly, this is not to say that like it's time to throw out all of my quartz, but there is going to have to be some sort of, reason to be wearing it. You know what I mean? Those could be as simple as, I don't always keep the FXD at home. In general, I like to only have one luxury watch at home. Yeah, with the FXD, maybe I keep that in addition to, one higher end piece. But there are going to be occasion where I, basically I've only got the watch on my wrist and the FXD won't be around. And I'm not gonna commit myself to like, oh, I must wear this Daytona to do this, ridiculous task or something. So I'm not going to do it in spite of myself. I'm just going to do what I want to do, what I'm comfortable to do. And this is more just about, finding where that comfort zone really is. But what I think is actually more common is there are situations where you don't actually want a watch at all. Like if you're moving furniture around and stuff like that, even a Casio will get in the way and be quite annoying. So that's it. That's probably the biggest thing this year for me in watches is that I've moved the high end up with the gold Daytona. I have a piece that literally isn't a steel sports watch, still a sports watch, but you'll forgive my compromise with full yellow gold, and then moving up the low end where the Tudor FXD is going to serve as my luxury beater, and I'm going to live with it. It's an easy watch to live with, I tell you that. It's just going to look cooler and cooler and cooler the more, beaten up on it is. So join the Discord. Please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What are you comfortable in? I want to hear someone who's like, no, Submariner, and that's it. Submariner's the workhorse. I'm going too cheap by going with the FXD. I just need to relegate my black Submariner, which I haven't been wearing much. I wear my Hulk more, but maybe the black Submariner should be filling this role. Beat that thing to death. So until next time, see you around.